Hi there, this is Pam, and I wanted to take a couple minutes today to describe a really moving experience that happened last night in a Stutter social hangout. Perhaps some of you don't know what that is, but a Stutter Social is just the brand name of a virtual stuttering support group that is held 4 times a week, and somebody hosts the hangout. It's a 90-minute session where people who stutter from all over, the country and actually all over the world can come into a room with other people who stutter and talk about whatever's on their mind, stuttering related. So last night in a hangout that was predominantly women, which is against the norm, as we know, because typically when groups of people who stutter are together, it's usually mostly men. But in this case, there happened to be 5 women and 2 men in the room. I was hosting. I was actually filling in for somebody else who was unable to make it. So we had to hang out a little bit earlier to meet my schedule, and we were just talking about anything. In a stuttering social hangout, you don't necessarily have to talk about stuttering per se, but the neat thing about the hangouts is that everybody who's there stutters. So we're talking about things and stuttering. Sometimes we actually talk about the stuttering experience. Other times we're just talking about whatever happens to cross people's minds. So last night, interestingly, we were talking about pretty banal things. I was talking about I had just done laundry, and after the hangout was done, I was going to want to fold my clothes and grab a bite to eat and those type of things. And some of us were just being a little silly. Another participant in the hangout actually shared a pretty difficult situation that she had during the day, and it was really kind of cool to see everybody in the group respond to that, make sure she was okay, offer some support, and just basically letting her know that she was not alone, and that if she needed anything, she just simply could just ask. So somehow the conversation then led to our stories, and somehow it came out, or somebody asked me, maybe one of the guys, there was only 2 guys in the room, asked me about what my experience had been, because I had commented that the hangout last night happened to represent the true diversity in our stuttering community. And I wasn't just referring to gender, I was actually referring to the severity spectrum that I definitely think exists in the stuttering community. So one of the guys asked me, well, what did I mean by that? Like a spectrum, in the stuttering community. So I explained my position. I basically just shared that as somebody who'd been covert for many years, I was able to hide my stuttering. And I shared a little bit about how I had basically pulled that off to the extent that many people in my world really did not know that I stuttered, including the man that I was with for many years. So again, the guy in the room, in the hangout room, was like, "Well, how did you pull that off? Like, how could you be with somebody for that many years and he didn't know that you stutter? Like, how could that not come up?" So I started talking about, the reasons why one goes undercover, essentially, and how you can go ahead and hide your stuttering, where some people in our community can't. They're just so much more overt, and the struggle is different and sometimes more physical than mine is. For example, my stuttering is fairly easy, repetitions. I don't have really struggled, tense blocks. I do have blocks, but I am not fighting to not stutter anymore. So therefore, my stuttering is easier. So we were talking just generally about my opinion of, that there is indeed a spectrum, and it was just interesting that it happened to be reflected in last night's hangout participants. And then somebody else joined the room, and somebody again wanted to know what were we talking about. So we caught them up, and then somebody happened to say to me, "You're really inspiring. Your story, what you've been through, the fact that you share, the fact that you didn't find stuttering support until you were in your 40s, and you're encouraging younger people to find it sooner." Everybody started getting really emotional. And it was like really evident that there was a lot of estrogen in the room, along with the two guys who were probably wondering, like, what the heck is going on here. It got pretty deep pretty quickly. I got all teary-eyed and emotional, as did a couple of the other women in the room. It was really powerful. It was very moving. I have never got emotional during a virtual stuttering support group. And I guess I just wanted to just share with those of you that may be interested, that happens. That's why these support groups virtually are so important, because it gives us that opportunity to connect. And sometimes a moment like last night just happens, where you find yourself telling your story when you had no idea that was going to happen. And all of a sudden, I'm teary-eyed. Actually, tears were running down my face. And I could tell that a couple of the other women in the room were experiencing the same emotion. And one of the guys was like, "Wow, this is really good for me too, because I'm learning something. I'm new to all this." So I didn't realize how powerful it could be. So I just felt like sharing that today because I'm still moved by what happened last night. And it's just interesting to me how quickly people who stutter can go there, can share the deepest, most personal things with each other, and it's okay to do that. So I just thought I would tell you about that. So thank you, and have a great day. It's Friday, so have a good weekend too.